The other day, I opened my kitchen drawer to grab a spatula, and instead I had to wrestle past a tangle of mismatched utensils I don't even use. In my tiny kitchen, every inch matters, and yet somehow I made space for things I might need someday. Not tools I use weekly, not tools I even like, just stuff I've held on to out of habit or guilt or some version of myself I thought I'd be by now. And at that moment, it hit me. I've been organizing clutter for a life I'm not even living anymore. But here's the thing that no one talks about. Decluttering in midlife isn't really about the stuff. It's about what the stuff represents. Our past selves, our missed goals, our guilt, our hopes. And letting it go, it's not just freeing up space in your closet, it's healing. It's permission to breathe again. It's how you start spending smarter, not by budgeting harder, but by getting honest about what's weighing you down. Now, we think decluttering is just about organizing our stuff, but it's actually about resetting our lives. Because when you start clearing out what no longer fits, the physical, the mental, the emotional, something shifts. And in my case, so did my spending, like super fast. Decluttering isn't just about tidying up. It's a frugal reset, a way to take your power back from the chaos, the emotional spending that often sneaks in when life gets too full. And in midlife, that kind of clarity is sort of priceless. Hi there, I'm Sara from FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of Fundamentally Frugal, link below. And today I want to share 8 super simple things you can declutter right now. Stuff you probably didn't even realize was draining your time, energy, and money. Now, we're not going to fold fitted sheets or label bins today. We're just going to talk about what's really going on behind the clutter and how to take your peace back one drawer at a time. So stick with me because a few of these might surprise you. One of them might even sting a little, but it's that one that changed everything for me. The someday I might stuff. Let's start with the dreamers, the bread maker, the knitting supplies, the fancy cocktail shaker you bought back when you thought you'd start entertaining every weekend. We hold on to this stuff because we once believed we'd become a certain kind of person. And maybe that vision felt really good at the time. But years later, those dusty items aren't inspiration, they're reminders that we didn't become the version of ourselves we thought we would. And that's hard to admit. But you know what's harder? Living in a house full of things that make you feel like you failed. It's okay to let go of the yoga mat if you've accepted that yoga just isn't your thing. It's okay to donate the books you meant to read 5 years ago but never opened. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're making room for the life that you actually want right now. And here's the frugal living angle. That someday stuff, it's usually the most expensive. And when you let it go, you stop spending money chasing a version of yourself that just doesn't exist anymore. Number 2, all those backup buys. If you've ever thought, oh, I'll just grab a couple extras just in case, then, well, we're in the same boat, my friend. A friend of mine was telling me the story about how she once found 5 pairs of scissors in her kitchen. Not counting the ones in the office, the laundry room, or the car. Just the kitchen. Why? Because she kept buying more every time one went missing, usually buried underneath all the extra stuff. We do this because we don't trust ourselves or our memory or the chaos of daily life. And honestly, I get it. We're holding everything together. Having a backup, it feels smart. But at some point, backups become clutter, and clutter becomes chaos. Pick your favorites. Donate the rest. You don't need 6 spatulas or 4 hairbrushes. You just need the one that works and the space to find it when you need it. I do want to touch on stockpile real quick because I find peace in food backups. But I know how much we will use and how long it's good for. There is no waste and no emotional turmoil in my pantry. Now you need to know you, so 6 bottles of ketchup when you go through one a month is okay. Number 3, guilt clutter, the stuff that tugs at your heart. This one's tough. I know it. I've cried over things I've never used but felt too guilty to let go. Maybe it was a birthday gift from someone you love. Maybe it was something expensive you bought and then instantly regretted. Maybe it belonged to your mom, your child, your gram, your ex, or your old life. We keep these things because we don't want to hurt anyone, or we don't want to feel like we wasted the money. But here's what I've learned. Keeping something out of guilt doesn't honor the person who gave it to you, and it doesn't fix the mistake. It just creates a little knot deep down in your stomach every time you walk past it. If you love it, use it. If not, it's time to let it go. Guilt is not a decorating style. And when you stop holding on to stuff out of guilt, you also start spending with more confidence. You'll buy less because you've learned what matters and you'll trust yourself more. Now, my cousin gave me a set of gorgeous dishes that belonged to my great aunt. It's china, and we don't normally use china in our modern day times. But it's so pretty. So I took a full set out and I put it in my cupboard so I can use the teacup saucer and a few plates. It's very feminine and very fun. Now, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with the rest of the set yet. This tip really does hit home for me. The half-finished or never started projects. Okay, how many of us have a project sitting in the back of a closet or under the bed that we meant to do, but never did? A scrapbook, a half-knitted scarf, a box of picture frames from a gallery wall that never made it to the wall. Now, I have a bin of fabric from the days when I used to sew, and it's been in the basement for years. But all it does is whisper, "Are you ever going to use me?" every time I see it. We think those projects are harmless, but they weigh us down. They remind us of unfinished business. And that kind of mental clutter leads to decision fatigue and sometimes to emotional spending. Because if we feel behind, we want to buy our way back to feeling in control. Here's the move. Pick one project, give yourself a deadline, finish it, or let it go. Now, that doesn't make you a quitter. It makes you a grown woman who knows her bandwidth. In my basement, I have a little room. 20 years ago, this was a scrapbook room, but I never really used it as such because the basement is 100 years old, damp, and smelly. So all those crafty items really need to be cleaned out. At least I need to put them into something so my grandchildren can use them when they come over to do crafts. Number 5, the expired, outdated, and the useless. Expired coupons, outdated vitamins, sunscreen from 3 summers ago, makeup you forgot you had, a drawer full of cords to electronics you don't even own anymore, that $300 Roden and Fields morning and evening skincare routine that was way too complicated, that's been in the drawer untouched for over a year. This stuff is everywhere, and it's sneaky because it doesn't seem like a big deal. But when your cabinets and your drawers are stuffed, you can't find anything, so you end up buying more. That's how clutter quietly drains your wallet. Do a quick sweep. One drawer, one shelf, one cabinet. Toss what's expired. Recycle the manuals for appliances you've already replaced. Donate the extra can opener. I promise you won't miss it. But you will love being able to open your bathroom cabinet without an avalanche of half-used bottles falling out. Number 6, the mental and digital overload. Now we're getting into the invisible stuff because sometimes the clutter isn't in your house. It's in your brain. You know what I'm talking about. The open browser tabs, the music, the apps you haven't touched in months, the sticky notes and to-do lists and reminders, that nagging feeling that you're always behind. We carry a mental load that nobody else sees. We're thinking about kids, parents, jobs, health, finances, our homes. And when we feel overloaded, we try to soothe ourselves with something quick, something easy, something like online shopping. But that relief is temporary and the overwhelm comes right back. Start small. Unsubscribe from 10 emails today. Close all the tabs and open just one. Delete the photos of 17 different chicken recipes you saved but never made. Give your brain some breathing room. Number 7, the financial drips, subscriptions, and auto renewals. This one's not just clutter, it's a budget leak, and a sneaky one at that. I can't tell you how many women I've worked with who had no idea they were still paying for a subscription for something they used once and then forgot about. A streaming service, a meditation app, that monthly box that was fun at first, but now just shows up and sits unopened. These small charges, $6.99 there, $12.99 there, it doesn't feel like much, but over time, that's hundreds of dollars a year on stuff you don't even use. Go through your bank statement. Every charge, ask yourself, do I even remember signing up for this? If the answer is no, cancel it. You don't owe a subscription your loyalty. That $50 a month could be groceries, a savings account, or even a dinner out with your partner. Number 8, the deal with it later pile. This is the stuff we leave in corners, on shelves, in baskets, because we just haven't gotten to it yet. The pile of mail, the bag of clothes you meant to donate or take back to the store. The broken lamp, the mystery charger, the school physical from 3 years ago that you're afraid to toss just in case someone asks for it one day. Now, I had a box in my kitchen cupboard mentally labeled, deal with it later. It's been full of paper for years. Every time I opened that door, I felt kind of like a failure. Eventually, I took the papers out, sat on the floor, and went through every single thing. Most of it went straight into the trash. And you know what I felt afterward? Not guilt, not regret, relief. Now I get to add a shelf and use that space for something else, something that serves me. This is your sign to deal with that one spot in your home that's been bothering you for ages. One drawer, one basket, one box. Don't wait for a weekend. Just do it while dinner's in the oven. Here's the thing. You're not lazy. You're not really messy. You're not behind. You're just busy. You've been carrying a lot. And sometimes stuff piles up because you've been surviving. But now it's the time to create space for yourself. Not for some Pinterest perfect version of your home, but for peace, for breathing room, for slower, softer season of life. Decluttering isn't about being extreme. It's about being honest. What's working? What's weighing you down? What's costing you money you don't want to waste anymore? What are those things that nag you when you're laying in bed not sleeping at night? Start there. That's enough. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.